Counting the Omer, the days between Passover and Shavuot, is one of my favorite Jewish rituals. Not only does it take less than a minute, other Jewish rituals might want to take note, but it allows you a moment in your day to be truly present in what is happening right now. The rabbis assigned a different Kabbalistic attribute to each week and each day of the Omer. Today, the 10th day of the Omer, is characterized by the attribute of Gvura, which is about judgment and limitation. We are supposed to think about our own self-judgment and our judgment of others, and where the limits of that judgment should lie. I think we can all agree that we might be great at the judgment part. Our ability to find the limits of that judgment may need a little bit of work. Nowhere is that more clear than in the current discourse around what is happening on our college campuses. This week is Senior Shabbat, where we honor the class of 2024. Many of them will be heading to college campuses next year, and I imagine these decisions feel more fraught than they thought they would when they were touring and committing to schools over the last few months. These seniors are beloved members of our central community. Some of you we've seen weekly or even more since you were old enough to walk into our nursery school. Some of you have joined us more recently, but quickly established yourselves as leaders and friends. And some of you we haven't seen in a while, but however long it has been, our community is shaped by you. Some of you know that you will walk onto campus and immediately go to Hillel to celebrate Shabbat and holidays, to create community with other Jewish students, and to engage in Tikkun Olam. For some of you, you will pick up an Israeli flag and be leaders of pro-Israel advocacy on campus. Some of you might go to Hillel for Passover seders or bagel brunches or a Shabbat meal, but will find your primary community elsewhere. And some of you are imagining yourselves sitting in tents on campus lawns, protesting the war. Wherever you find yourself, I urge you strongly to find some way to be in the Jewish community so that people will know what we already know about all of you, which is that you are thoughtful, engaged, and passionate Jews. This might have been an easier message to deliver to last year's graduates, but it's more important than ever that you hear it and that you act on it. I want to say two things very, very clearly to you and to anyone listening tonight. First, there is real and very frightening anti-Semitism happening on campuses, which we hear about in the news and also from our Central College students and from Hillel professionals. I am in anguish watching what is unfolding around us. A colleague and friend of mine who oversees a Hillel with thousands of students has told me about the ways in which anti-Semitism on campus has both multiplied and become much more dangerous than in past years. When people yell at Jews to go back to Poland, or call for 10,000 more October 7ths, or rip kippot off the heads of Jewish people, or don't allow Jewish students to walk across campus to the library, or any number of other horrifying incidents against Jews for being Jews or for support of Israel, that is anti-Semitism and it should not be tolerated. However you engage, you should stand up proudly for your Jewishness and demand that your universities keep you safe. The Hillels on campus are doing heroic work right now to support all Jewish students and are doing everything from caring for traumatized students to creating meaningful Passover experiences to providing snacks and meals as students prepare for finals, to creating spaces for hard conversations and listening and supporting many, many different points of view. They are also the people speaking to universities about what their students are thinking and feeling and they are on the front lines of working with schools to keep Jewish students safe. These are not the things that make the news, but they are doing the work on the ground. And if any of the adults out there are wondering how you can support Jewish students on campus, a donation to Hillel at your alma mater, another school you're connected to, a school you're not connected to, is a powerful, concrete thing you can do right now, well, after services. Hillel will be strengthened by your generosity. And if you want to help on the ground, call and ask what you can do. And my second message to students in college, and especially those of you who are on your way there, is this. No matter which side you sit on, whether you are calling for a ceasefire or believe that Israel should continue fighting, or something in between, or nothing at all, you are a Jew. You have a place in our community, and you have a place in your Jewish community on campus. Your clergy here are committed to listening to you with an open mind and an open heart. And the Hillel professionals on your campuses are too. Do not disengage from your Jewish pride. Do not disengage from the many complex and emotional questions about Israel in favor of signs and slogans. Do not walk away from your Jewish community. We will not walk away from you. And to those of you listening tonight who feel discomfort with one side or another, the Omer is here to remind us that the way we put Gvura into practice is to temper our judgment of others, to ask and talk before screaming. I understand the temptation to rail and decry and post incendiary content on social media, but our tradition asks that we do the harder task, to listen and to make room in our hearts, even when it makes us extremely uncomfortable. As much as we practice Gvura, judgment, we also need the other attribute of the 10th day of the Omer, Tiferet, which is connected to balance and compassion. In fact, the Kabbalist would say that today's intention is that the attribute of compassion should temper your judgment of yourself, but also of others. I'm not talking about not judging those who are trafficking in anti-Semitism. Some things are so far outside the bounds that we should not tolerate them. But there are people that we can talk to. At its best, college should not be a bubble, but it should be a time when your ideas can be sharpened and refined. In Proverbs, we are taught, iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Your education should be a time to allow for new thoughts and new ideas to challenge what you think now, and maybe even change you. If you come out of college the same way you went in, that's not a success. Give yourself some room to grow, to be unsettled, to try to understand, and to be in conversation and community with people whose ideas are different from yours. When you feel the urge for Gvura, balance it with Tiferet. And it goes the other way too. Too much compassion without a little judgment leads to allowing anyone to do and say anything, regardless of the consequences, and we cannot stand for that. I know I'm asking something really hard, bordering on unfair, because it's exhausting and it's scary to be vilified and painted with such broad strokes, and we should not be the only ones who have to do this work. But I know you can do it, because I see it in you. And I am committing every person in this room, every person in this community, to having your back. I want to leave us with the words of Rachel Pullen Goldberg, mother of Hirsch, who has been held captive for 210 days. She said, "I understand that hatred of the other, whoever we decide the other to be, is seductive, sensuous, and most importantly, hatred is easy. But hatred is not actually helpful or constructive. In a competition of pain, there is never a winner. We human beings have been blessed with intellect, creativity, insight, and perception. Why are we not using that to solve global conflicts all over the world? Because doing this is hard. And it takes fortitude, imagination, grit, risk, and hope. So instead, we opt for hatred because it is so comfortable, familiar, and so very, very easy. My dear seniors, I already know that you have so much fortitude, imagination, grit, risk, and hope. Use these gifts. Use them to reach out instead of turning inward. Use them to build the world that you need, that we all need. May the next steps on your journey be a time of intellectual and creative growth. And in the words of the priestly blessing, may you be safe, may you be happy, and may you feel peace.